Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Good evening. Well, I was kind of hoping that someone may have come up with an explanation for that black kind of image that was on the sun in the sunset in Talik's, in one of Talik's videos. The one that said we have no option than to move on, an expat living in the Philippines. I've had a couple of, let me see, 2 or 3, maybe 4. Nobody has an explanation or made any wild guesses that would have been interesting. So have a look at that video. It's not an effort to raise the views. We take it as it comes, but it's just interesting, and it coincides with another thing that we encountered some time ago about a face that appeared on behind me on the wall, that appeared and disappeared, and actually was faintly in some photographs that were sent to me, but very faint, but people recognized that there was something there. So I'd be interested in finding out what that was. It was we haven't been able to zoom in on it sufficiently to be able to find out for ourselves, but we did get one response from a subscriber, and he looked at the image. He froze that particular frame and put it up onto his large screen, his flat screen TV, but couldn't offer any kind of a solution. Now, while I'm on, I would like to make a comment myself about the use of the thumbs up. Now, I'm not talking about the normal run of things where people watch the video and they either hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about the use of it when acknowledging something that has been sent to me. And a couple of people have indicated that they kind of felt that it was offhand, and one person thought that it actually was rude. Just to let you know that we have a whole series of little images that we can use in order to make things simpler for us. As you may possibly know, we're now at 178,000 subscribers, and even though you don't see any comments because the comments are still disabled, we do get a lot of email, and I really do try my best to respond. Now, in the case of one subscriber who actually was offended because at one point I used a thumbs up. Now I'd made my response to him, which I'll explain in a moment. That I'd made my response to him, and then he had answered that response, and then I put a thumbs up, the large thumbs up that I'm sure that you've all seen and used yourselves. And he was offended by that. He thought that I'd been offhand and rude, and that it indicated that all I was interested in was hits, as he put it, hits on our YouTube channel. Obviously, this is what we do, so we're obviously very interested in hits on our channel. We're interested in likes, views. We look at the statistics, and try to keep some kind of idea of the way that things are going. But my job is to answer comments that have made that inspire me that inspire a response in a certain way. Now, the gentleman that had written to me had asked me if I would engage in a phone call. As those of you who have asked of this of me in the past will know that the phone call thing, it really doesn't work for us up here on the hill, for more than just the reason that the signal is weak. There are some people that have had a successful telephone call, but it's more in the way of a friend calling and just conversation, rather than an attempt to impart a lot of information. Now, this gentleman is planning on coming out to the Philippines to live, and that was the kind of conversation that he was hoping to have for me. Now, whenever people ask me specific questions about finances, about relationships, about that, if we don't do that as an advice section, with Beth and I working on it together, if it doesn't warrant that kind of response, then the way that I try to do it is to guide people, direct people to the fact that we've actually posted very, very soon, it will be close on 8,000 videos. Now, during that time, we've done videos between Beth and I of virtually every aspect, in our estimation, of living here in the Philippines, of finances in the Philippines, of a trip to the bank, a trip to the post office, a trip to see friends, a trip to the hairdressers. We've really done everything that happens in our experience. So for me to go into details like that in a phone call, it doesn't seem to make sense to me, because I've already gone into it carefully in detail in a video, which I've given some thought to and to an extent planned, but then spontaneously talked about the subject in hand. And what I do is I urge people to look at the videos, and if they're particularly interested in relationships and the associated challenges with having a relationship with a Filipina, which is what we're really talking about. We don't do any videos on the challenges of having, say, a relationship or a marriage with a Mexican lady or a Greek lady, because we're in the Philippines, and so that's what we deal with. I'm married to a Filipina myself, and to that extent have some experience. So please don't be offended if during the course of a series of exchange I end up with giving you a thumbs up, because it means we've handled the thing, you've told me what you feel, and if in general I agree with what you've said, then I'll give it a thumbs up. Now, I always promise that if somebody does actually write to me at length, I will respond in, if not strictly in kind, close. I will not just put a thumbs up. So it does happen sometimes that a thumbs up just answers it, and that's the time that I have to be able to make that response, and rather than have no response, I prefer to give a thumbs up. So please don't be offended. I am being neither rude nor offhand. I am very interested in the relationships that develop between us and people who are following our channel. Some people have been following our channel since we were in the hundreds, and for those people it's not just about hits or views, it's not just about any of that, and I like to keep in touch, and those are valued relationships, not just about early, what I call old-timers, old-timers in the sense that you've been with us for a long time, but I really try to answer in kind. So for those who might be offended out there, my apologies. No offense intended. Please continue to write to me, but look at the videos, because we've given some care and planning into researching, finding out what the answers are. Obviously it's all anecdotal in that the stories are ours and are stories about our adventures and experiences. So I always say that if you have say a specific question about anything that might be updated, say for instance in immigration, I think that the best thing to do is, while going for something that I might believe is true, actually go to the source and find out. So go to the source for that. It may be different to what has been told by me by other people. If someone comes and they come online and they make a comment, or they write to me and say, interesting thing happened when I came through immigration 2 days ago, then I will post the details that they've given in that, and I'll post it as being the experience of someone who has just come through and the date they came through. Okay, that's it for now. Don't forget to have a look at that video and tell me what you think about that kind of a blotchy thing that's on the sun. Someone said, well, at first I thought it was a tree, but the sun, it's a sunset, but it's a sunset prior to the sun actually going down, and the sun is very much clear of the horizon. So it's an interesting, slightly weird thing. Love to know what you think. You can always email me or messenger, and I will respond. And not just with a thumbs up. Okay, bye for now.